Hey, welcome back to the channel. I want to cover a few misconceptions with Barndominiums today. Number one being the foundation. You hear a lot of people talk about how you need to overdo this foundation. You need to make your footings bigger, your slab thicker, and that's just not true. So your standard block house in Florida sits on a 12 by 16 footing, 12 wide, 16 deep, with two number 5 rebar running continuous, and then a 4-inch slab with 3,500 psi concrete and fiber. It's another misconception. A lot of people think that you need rebar all throughout the slab, or though we used to use a wire mesh. You just don't need that anymore. With fiber, you don't need those things. You do need visqueen layer taped around your pipes to prevent moisture. The moisture will bleed up through the slab. You can get a wet floor from moisture coming up, so you do want that visqueen. It also prevents insects, ants, termites, roaches, which they all find a way in anyway, but it does help. So that's what your average block house sits on. Your average block house, your exterior walls weigh between 50 and 65 pounds per square foot. Now, how does that compare to a steel building? Steel building weighs an average of, look, make sure I get it right, 8 to 15 pounds per square foot. So your steel building is much lighter than your block house. So everyone that's telling you how heavy a steel building is and how it needs more support, just do your own research, because Google is your friend, and you can use it to find a lot of answers and find the facts versus somebody's opinion that they heard from somebody that they heard from somebody. So that's number one. Number two is zoning. A lot of people say go to the building department. Well, you do. The building zoning department is in the building department. But when you're going to find out if you can build on a piece of property, you're going to the zoning department. They are the ones who say what you can and can't do with a piece of property. They are the ones that'll tell you how tall your house is allowed to be. Yes, how tall. There are places where you can only be so tall. They were the one, if there are ordinances on siding material, they are the ones that will tell you those ordinances. So you want to go to the zoning department before you buy a piece of property, not after. If your real estate agent is not your friend, they're trying to get a commission. There's some good ones out there, but there's a lot of bad ones. I had a family, the real estate agent sold them a piece of land in the flood zone. How do you not know that? You know, it's on the MLS. They hid it from them, sold it to them, went out to look at building it, went to the zoning department, can't build on it. So, or sometimes there's a very small area of a big property that's buildable, but it's not where you want to be. So, do your own research. Never trust your real estate agent. Loans. Everybody says go to your local bank. Do not go to your local bank. Find someone who specializes in barndominiums. It is so important that you find someone that understands the process, understands the cost, and has a relationship with your builder. If your builder specializes in what you're doing, he doesn't work with your local bank. He has a bank that he works with. And when you're building a specialty type home, it's important that you get the right bank. I have seen these deals fall apart at the closing table. They're so excited. They're fixing to start building. They're going to closing, and the bank realizes, oh, we don't do this. That typically happens with VA, but it has happened. Same thing if you're a VA builder. or not builder, client. If you're a veteran and you want to use the VA, one, your builder must be VA approved, which we are. But two, your bank has to understand how the VA works and to navigate that process. Anybody who's been through it will tell you that getting a home loan with the VA is very difficult. They are very picky. They want very specific criteria met, and you really need a bank that understands that so that they can get it done for you. Cost. I guarantee you can Google on the internet right now. You'll find somewhere that it says it costs $50 a square foot. Because I get that call every day. Had a lady call me today, wanting to know what she could build for $50,000. And quite honestly, tiny houses are selling for more than that. It's just, there's just not much you can build cheap anymore. We posted a video. I'll make another video on here. We posted a video on our TikTok about cheap. There's a builder here locally. I don't know who they are. My son goes around. He gets scrap copper out of the dumpsters when they wire the house, and somebody sweeps up, because we all know the electricians don't. But when somebody sweeps up the house and they throw all that in the dumpster, he goes and he pulls all those pieces out of the dumpster, and he has a little machine out here. He runs it through and it strips it down to the bare metal, and then it's going down now, but I think he got $4.30 a pound for it, and he had a couple hundred pounds. So it's a pretty good little gig for him. This last time we went, a lot of the wire was aluminum. Now it had a copper coating. He thought he was stripping copper. It looked like copper, but they showed us, you look at the end of it and it's aluminum wire. And they hit it on a little grinder there, and it's aluminum. It's not pure copper. So, when you're comparing apples to apples, there's so many questions you don't know. If a house costs more, dig a little deeper into it, because there's probably a reason, and it's probably the one you want if you can. HOAs. I would just say avoid it. I live in an HOA because we moved up here. It was the only house we could find at the moment. There was just nothing available. And I get letters all the time. You can't park your truck like that. You can't park on the street. You got too many people at your house. You can't leave your boat in your driveway. It's I definitely would not live in an HOA if I had a choice. And we are looking for somewhere outside of the HOA. But building in an HOA, you have to get the board's approval. You have to take your plans. That's your first step. Before you get county approval, you have to get HOA approval. So you got to have their approval. They want a full set of plans to look at with elevations, what do you, exterior materials, colors, all of it. And then once they approve you, then you can go to the building department to apply to get a permit to build your home. So land prep. So land prep can be a big thing. You want to look at the houses around you, especially the newer ones, because in 2008 they changed in Florida. Now, this is in Florida. I don't know how this works in other states. They changed the data that they used for elevation, and I think they changed it again in 2018, 19, somewhere in there. We had a hurricane, we had a bunch of flooding, and they raised it another foot. So you want to look at the new houses, because you may have a house sitting here, and then their neighbor's house might be up here. So you want to look, if you see a bunch of houses like this going down the street, and then boop, there's one up here, That's where you're going to have to be. So now you're looking at a lot. If here's the houses are spread apart, there's a lot between them, and you're thinking about buying that lot, you got to be at this elevation, not this one. So take that into consideration, because bringing the dirt in to raise your foundation that high could be very expensive. The other option is to do a stem wall and build on a stem wall, but still, then you got to dig footings. You got to pour those footings. You have to block it up to the proper elevation. Then you have to fill that with dirt. It is less dirt than building the whole area up, but you got the footings, the block, and then the extra labor of putting dirt inside the block. And then you pour a slab over that and build on that. And then on top of that, you got to have steps into your house. If you want to park at that elevation, you got to build that area up for your parking. Typically, you don't. Typically, we leave the parking down because just of the cost. But that's just something to think about. So thanks for tuning into this video. I'm going to try to start making more videos, go a little deeper into things. Trying to get them a little more professional. We've got a mic, we've got a light. We're trying to get this all adjusted. I'm not only going to look so good, but we're trying to make a better quality. So thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking around. And let us know if we can help you. Hey, I forgot one thing. So we'll stitch this into the end of the video here, I hope. Unloading your building. See behind me? Right? Right. Which way am I going? This is tricky. Right there. That thing. That thing, telehandler. So in that picture, they're setting trusses with it. But when you have a larger building like this, anything over 30 wide, anything over 12 tall, you're going to have this. Whether we're building you a house or a garage, shop, whatever, if it's over 30 wide and over 12 tall, you're going to have this. Now, we do own one, and we will rent it to you. And that's one of the complaints, is that you get a window of when this building is going to be delivered. Now, typically, the company we use is pretty good on that window. They're pretty good at meeting that. But it does cost about $2,500 a week. It varies, but we get about $2,500 a week for ours. Ours is a very large one, to reach 53 feet high. It'll reach high enough to build all the things we build. But you are going to have that. And that's not always in your quote. So look for it in your quote if you're pricing a building. And if it's not there, it's going to have to be there. So it's another $2,500. So sometimes you hear a lot of complaints about hidden costs that people get hit with. And that's one of them. All right. Thanks for watching.